Mango! Hi! Hi, I'm trying to figure out YouTube. I thought that it would be good to go, but it doesn't look like it's connected over there. Give me 1 second. If I can't figure it out quickly, I'm just gonna say forget it and we'll go without it, but let me see something. How are you doing? How's your week been? It says I'm streaming on YouTube, but I don't see it on here anywhere. Oh wait, there it is. Okay, awesome. Okay, so can you hear me on there? It says I'm streaming. Yep, alright, sick, we're good to go. I guess I don't get the creator dashboard on YouTube, but that's fine. Amazing. Amazing. Victory screech. Always gotta start with one of those, you know? Get a little loosey-goosey, you know? Get the vibes up. I've been writing, reading, working, exercising, and taking care of my dad. Hey, that's well-rounded, well-respected routine right there. That's for sure. Props to you for taking care of your dad as well. I know it's not always an easy thing. Kage, hello, how are you? Happy hump day, friends. This is the first YouTube stream we're doing, and this will be the first bookish stream of the year, and I'm excited. Excited to hang out with you guys and talk a bunch of books. You got a little preview over there, down there, up at the books we're going to be talking about, crossing quite a few genres, and I'm excited to also hear about maybe some things that you guys think about these books if you've read them, or maybe similar books that you have read this year, suggestions for me to add to my ever-growing TBR, which I am going to get Goodreads open real quick so that I can just kind of see my ratings and stuff if I forget anything or any quotes that I might want to share with you guys. So let's see. We'll go to Reading Challenge from last year. And I did set my goal to 45 books this year. My reading goal for last year was 50, and we got to 41. Admittedly, I did not read much between like October 1st through December like 20th. I hardly read anything at all, so I feel like I maybe could have hit my goal if I would have pushed through the holidays and the Japan trip. Obviously, I really didn't have time to read, so yeah, manga definitely counts. 100%. Yeah, there's so many good stories out there. One book that I'm definitely going to be talking about quite a bit is the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Kage, if you haven't heard of that, you should definitely check it out. Any gamers who haven't read that series, I definitely recommend it. If you like tabletop RPGs too, it's so good. So we'll definitely be talking about some of those things. But yeah, I read some manga last year. I didn't really read a ton this year. I read a few chapters of One Piece, but I didn't really keep track. But I would like to read some more manga next year. I am reading a couple more educational books this year, one being this bad boy. You see I've got a few tabs and markings in. I'm not too far in so far, but my goal is to actually read through this entire thing progressively over the next month or so and just get like a good gist of a few things. I will say like this is pretty elementary for where I'm at right now, but I feel like I've still obviously had some things to learn because I'm marking pages and highlighting things, so and then once I get through that, I want to try to get my hands on like some more like training, learning, actual textbooks for the JLPT, the language proficiency test. So we'll add that in. But hey, I'm reading it. It counts towards my reading goal. That's how I feel about it. So the book I've mentioned is the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which we're going to talk about very soon. It was one of the first books that I read at the beginning of the year. One of my first YouTube videos was talking about this book as well. So yeah, I mean, we could probably just jump right into it, yeah? Worm gang, whole lot of worm shit. You already know. Bookworm gang, stand up. Yes, sir. Very excited. Very excited. Read a lot of different things. I read more romance this year than I have in previous years. And really, I think I struggled with just finding things I was interested in, like, reading when my mind was all over the place. And I felt like romances were just really chill, easy palate cleansers, you know? I didn't necessarily love or enjoy all of them, but yeah, looking at this this list here, I can definitely see that there was some of that going on. But oh, so sweet, the love in the chat. Yeah. But let's get started, shall we? I'm gonna have a little sip of water here. Cheers. I should have filled this up before I started. I forgot, but we'll make it work. I think I'm gonna tilt this down just a smidge so I can get comfy, cozy. Oh, there's a little dog. I just took him out before we started, so he's not debating me into anything right now. Yeah, so, okay, my first read of the year was Cupcakes, Trinkets, and Deadly Magic, and I honestly don't even remember how I came across this book. I think it might have been, like, included in Amazon, like, my Kindle subscription, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I'm not even really gonna say much more than that about it. You see, this category is Please Never Write Another Book, and that's exactly how I feel about that one. So next. Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. So this one was pretty interesting. This was a shorter story. I think this was like less than 200 pages. And I've been wanting to read M.L. Rio's stuff quite a bit. I have read If We Were Villains or When We Were Villains. I think it's If We Were Villains. Yeah. Which is very good. It's about, it's kind of like a murder mystery set at like a arts college. And I enjoyed that a lot. It's one of my favorite books ever. But Graveyard Shift was just, it was pretty good. I would say it's worth the time. There's been some scenes from this book that I have thought of up till today. I think it's also a murder mystery type thing. It's kind of a whodunit or who's doing it more so. Like there's an active crime that people are kind of witnessing and there's like some back and forth. So that one was pretty good. There is a scene that like if I close my eyes, I can think of that, and that's how I know that it's stuck with me a little bit. But definitely one thing I'd like to read more of this year is more like suspenseful, intense books. You know, have you on the edge of your seat type of vibe. Hopefully I can get more of that as I delve into more Stephen King books, which we did read a few of those as well this year. So, yeah, Graveyard Shift, I think, worth the time. Okay, The Salt Flats. This was trippy. Man. Okay, so I listened to The Salt Flats mostly on audiobook, and I think I listened to it because the audiobook narrator, she had narrated a book that I really enjoyed in 2024, and I was like desperate to hear her read something else, so I went on her like audiobook like profile or whatever that they have on Audible and found The Salt Flats. It's super trippy. This couple goes to like this retreat camp in the Salt Flats, and there's all these other couples that are there, and they all do drugs together basically, and like it's like a therapy, like a shock therapy, and they like deal with all their trauma. It's so messed up. Honestly, it was so messed up. Very introspective. I don't know if it'd be worth the time for like the average cozy, comfy reader. If you want something intense and surprising, I'd say it's worth the time. But I'm gonna put it in maybe not, because I'm not really sure. I feel like this one is it's subjective. If you like reading like a psychological thriller, if you like that weird, almost like campy, what's a good like movie TV comparison maybe? I don't know. No, maybe like a Quentin Tarantino movie where it's just like so nonsensical till it makes sense. That's probably what the Salt Flats would be. Hi Myers, good to see you. Hey, no worries, definitely. I'll chat back with you definitely when I wrap up. I would love for you to pop in, so we'll figure something out. Totally gonna read that. Psych. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, out of all of these, Jay, there's a few that I think you might be interested in. I'll see if I can point them out. So the next thing that I read, let me see, what did I give Salt Flats on the rating? Can I not open this? View book details. Yeah, actually didn't leave a review. I said, I have no idea how to rate this. I enjoyed it. Essentially completed it in one sitting with some naps in between. Oh no, this is the wrong book that I'm reading. It's this one that we want. Scuffed. Here we go. Yeah, I gave it 3.5 stars. I said a wildly selfish acid trip. Yeah. An engrossing psychological introspection reflecting how small most of our problems truly are. How someone's grass is always less green, someone's trauma always much worse, and how we always get to choose to be grateful and live in the moment. Or manipulate our own perception of reality. Yeah, I'd say that's a fair shake at that book. So. Next, we read The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, which I think I gave like 4 stars. I'm a sucker for any book about books. I am. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. It's very cozy, a little mystery. There's some, I think, dual timelines going on in this one. And yeah, I would put it at worth the time. If I think about it now, looking back over 2025, it's not one that I really thought much about after reading it. So yeah, I'm not gonna put it in 5 stars. Or pretty dang close. So we'll put it as worth the time. Okay, now we're cracking. Now we're getting to some meat and potatoes. Okay, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Let's see. I read 1, 2, 3 of these books this year, and I'm like maybe 15% through the 4th one, and there's a lot of them. I think there's like 10. Let me see. Dungeon Crawler Carl books. Maybe there's 8. Let's see. Yeah. The 8th book is coming soon, it says. You can pre-order it right now. So there's 7 books out, 8 total. And this one is so much fun. I am definitely putting the first one in screaming, crying, throwing up. So funny, so exciting. There's some dry humor, there's some gore, there is this whole, aspect of playing almost like a role-playing game live for other people to witness. Other alien species to witness. You get a little sci-fi action in there, you get your gamer fantasy. There's a talking cat. What more could you want, honestly? I highly recommend this one. Even if you don't go on and read the other books, I think that this book could be a gateway for a lot of people to like get back into reading. So I really can't recommend it enough. The audiobooks are supposed to be incredible. It is one guy that does the narration, and apparently he is a very talented voice actor. I haven't listened to the audiobook myself. I'm very picky when it comes to audiobooks, and I really only try to listen to audiobooks if I can't find them a different way. basically, for sheep, you know. So yeah, I could talk a lot about Dendrocollar Carl. And if you're interested, I do have a YouTube video of me like reading that in real time, so you can check that out, as well as I think I was reading The Reunion at the same time and Reincarnation Blues at the same time in that video. So maybe I was reading Doomsday Scenario, not the first book actually, so you might have to, you know, fill in some blanks there. Yeah, so that's kind of where we started out the year. I think I really struggled reading things at the beginning of the year, like the first quarter, because I was trying to make YouTube content. So a lot of what I was reading was just based on the videos I was trying to film, instead of reading things I wanted to read and then making videos on that. That makes sense. So I kind of forced myself to read a couple things that I probably wouldn't have, and I think that kind of ruined my reading palette for the year, if that makes sense. Anyway, Onyx Storm. This is the third book in the Empyrean series, and you know, this is Fourth Wing Iron Flame, aka Dragon Smut, as a lot of people call it and consider it. You know, I don't know. I feel a lot of things about Fourth Wing. I think it's entertaining. I think that there is some great characters, and there is some things that I enjoy about it. But do I think it's the best written fantasy novel that I read this year? No. Do I think that everybody should run and jump and read Fourth Wing? Not really. I don't. I feel as though she was put into a box to publish 5 books in a series that could have been 3, maybe less. There is a lot of unnecessary back and forth between the 2 main characters that I think is supposed to, you know, build exciting tension for the reader, but most of it's just annoying. And I think that's a pretty common opinion on these books. So I'm hoping that in books 4 and 5 they can grow up a little more and we can focus on the world and the magic. This is something that I think romantasy in general there is an issue with. Writing a good fantasy novel alone is already difficult, and then you want to write a passionate, exciting romance. Also, something is going to fall short, I think. I have yet to really read a romantasy book that I think feels complete, if I had to say that way. Is it worth the time? I don't know. I'm gonna honestly put Onyx Storm and maybe not, and here's why. If you're going to read the Fourth Wing series, I would wait until all the books are published. And that way you can just breeze through this stuff instead of, you know, feeding off of the hype and then having to wait and like the lull of waiting and then your expectations not being met. Wait until it's a complete series and breeze through it, and if you like dragons, if you like the like dark academia fantasy vibe, then it could definitely be for you. But otherwise, I'd say maybe not, honestly. Actually, you know what? I need to look something up real quick. Okay, that's what I thought. Alright then. I will wait until every book ever is published, and then maybe I'll read something. Hey, you know, it's just... I think that everybody just needs to find books that they find interesting and entertaining in order to set the time aside to read. That's really what it is. It's a time sacrifice that maybe isn't worth it, right? If you'd rather be gaming or watching TV or watching a movie, you, speaking to you individually, because I know you, are appreciative of good stories. It's just the time and the lull of getting into books, I feel like that keeps a lot of people away. A lot of books are boring. A lot of books are great, but they're boring to begin with. And sometimes you have to wait for the payoff. But, you know, it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? It's not for everyone. I appreciate you being here regardless and hanging out with me. Yeah, okay. The reunion. Okay, so I think I gave this like 3 stars. The reunion was okay. I thought it was a pretty good, like, pretty good story about, like, family dynamics and relationships within the family when things happen. When events happen, when tragedy happens, when trauma happens. How everybody kind of has their own perspective, their own memory of what happened, and how that could really affect the relationships within a family unit, regardless of if people are aware of it, right? Again, this is one that I didn't really think much about after I read it. While I was reading it, I definitely enjoyed it. This is another one that I read for a YouTube video. I think this was part of my blind dating books video that I did, where I got to blind boxes, basically, of books from Etsy. And yeah, okay, so my review says 3.75 out of 5. Almost there, really great read, impactful exposition of family dynamics, getting wrapped up in expectations, trauma resolve, and relationship boot camp. Yeah, that's about what I said. Yeah, I do recall there being kind of a satisfying payoff in the subplot of the romance, but I definitely think the main purpose of this one was more about the family dynamic. I'm gonna put this in... Was it better than Onyx Storm? I don't know. I'm gonna put it in maybe not. These two are pretty close. I would say they're both like 3.5 star reads for me, to be honest. My favorite worm of all the worms. Aw. Would you still love me if I was a worm? A bookworm. Okay. The Hunger Games. Alright, so these books are some of the ones I was most excited to read this year. I knew that I wanted to read The Hunger Games for the first time this year, and I ended up watching all the movies for the first time as well. And I will say, as a trilogy, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay are incredible. I think they are definitely up there. I'm trying to think, like, are they 5 stars for me? obviously The Hunger Games is like a young adult story, right? And when you read young adult stories as a not so young adult, there are things that you kind of like will roll your eyes at or whatever, right? So I tried to think about like what the audience was, like who's the audience that this author wrote this for, and can it still apply to different people and different age groups? And I think Hunger Games does a pretty good job at that. It is your natural sci-fi, high-stakes fantasy story, and there's a lot going on, different aspects of the book that I think never really hit in the movies. And so if you are a fan of The Hunger Games as a franchise and you haven't read the books, I do highly recommend it. I think it's worth it. I think they are good in their each individual own right, but they make each other better if you have a full understanding of what's going on in the stories. Yeah, I'm gonna put Hunger Games and Catching Fire in 5 stars, and I'm gonna just go ahead and put The Mockingjay up, screaming, crying, throwing up. The last few pages of The Mockingjay wrecked my entire world. I was ugly sobbing, snot running out of my nose. And honestly, that movie was the most disappointing to me because I just feel like it didn't hit the same. Not even close. And this is one of those things that's like, a reason why I don't read a lot of book to movie adaptations or watch movie book adaptations. It's hard. They're hard to do. Anybody who takes on that feat is, I don't know, maybe a masochist. But yeah, I think Hunger Games, Catching Fire, definitely, just jump ahead here, definitely 5 stars, or pretty dang close, and then I'm gonna put The Mockingjay as one of my top reads of the year. Definitely S tier, for sure. Another thing that really bothers me about the adaptations of the movies is, I don't think this is really, it's not really a spoiler, because like everybody knows, right? The love triangle that occurs in these books is like an anchor. It's the reason why Katniss makes a lot of choices that she does, acts the way that she does in a lot of cases. Obviously, we see some of that with Peeta, but it just did not come through at all in the movies how it does in the book. And that's one thing that has sat with me for a while, since I read them. The movies are really about the action, which is fair, right? You know, movies, we want to blockbust, and obviously The Hunger Games did that, so it worked. But if you read the books and then watch the movies, you feel a total lack of that. I feel like the being the driving force in a lot of what Katniss does. So in that case, the movie's L, but books W. 4 Ruined Realms. So this is in a series, The 5 Broken Blades. I really enjoyed this series a lot. I think this is the wait. Is this the 3rd book? Or is this the 2nd book? Yeah, this is the 2nd book. Did we not get the 3rd one yet? No. Okay. Is there gonna be a 3rd one? I don't know. Oh yeah, Free Shattered Souls. I did read this. Is it on here? Oh yeah, it is on here. Okay, never mind. I'm crazy. Yeah, the series is great. I don't know if it's 5 stars, but it's worth it. It's definitely better than The Lost Bookshop for Ruined Realms. And I would even put 3 Shattered Souls. Did I rate these? I don't know if I did. It's just, again, this goes back to the romantasy thing. You have a really great fantasy story inspired by real Asian history and culture. and amazing, beautiful world that is crafted and created, and then we just throw the romance in, right? And at points, the romance is stronger than the world building, and then the world building is stronger than the romance. It's really hard to like keep these two working together cohesively. And I think Four Ruined Realms and Three Shattered Souls is unfortunately a victim of that as well. Did I give it 5 stars? Did I give either of these 5 stars? I don't think that I did. Let's see. Yeah, 4 stars and 4 stars. That checks out. Definitely worth reading if you're into fantasy. If you like the found family vibes or like unexpected friends, unexpected relationships, for sure. Where's Captain Underpants? Reading all these titles, and I feel like a prick for only reading self-help. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that either. My thing is, I think self-help is great. There's a lot of good self-help books out there, but a lot of self-help books could be summarized in like a few chapters instead of reading the whole book, right? Which is the issue that I have. I feel like they fluff a lot of self-help books to fill a book, right? Which is cool. But there's something about fiction that I think allows you to get some perspective into different ways of life, and like, I don't know, I don't want to say empathy because I don't really think that's the right word, but like you gain some sympathy and understanding. You're exposed to things that, like, yeah, it might be a fake story or a fake world that you're living in, and magic doesn't exist in real life, but the people that are in the book are written by a real person, and a lot of that stuff bleeds through, you know? Yeah, I'm not really for like reading books that don't have that underlying tone, right? Like, I want to feel the humanity, and I want to come away from books feeling like I have a different perspective, you know? I need to decode my trauma. G, fiction makes me sad because their life is way more troll than mine. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just terrible, you know? They're fighting for their lives. But yeah, I mean, that's valid. And I think the fact that you're even taking that initiative is more than a lot of people do. So kudos to you. And if you ever have any cool, good nonfiction or self-help that you think is worth sharing, I'd love to hear it. I do want to read more nonfiction this year. So lay it on me for sure. Okay, Carl's Doomsday Scenario. This is the second book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I'm gonna put this one at 5 stars, or pretty dang close. I don't think this was as good as the first one, but it was pretty good. And you get a few more characters that come to play. You get to learn more. Like, things start to be revealed about this universe that we're experiencing, and that Carl and Princess Donut, his cat, are navigating. And this is where it starts to get political. And I think you start to realize that things are a lot bigger than just the dungeon crawl. There is a lot of politics and power control at play. And I think it definitely gets super interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook up here as screaming, crying, and throwing up, just while we're talking about this story. Actually, I'm even gonna move Mockingjay in front of these two, I think. Can I do that? Yeah. Funny. They're so funny. I definitely teared up a few times. My jaw dropped. The visceral reactions came through. And I think they deserve to be up there near the top. They're some of my favorite books I've read this year. I'm excited to read more of the series. They're just vast. There's a lot going on, a lot of world building. Each book is like a new level in this dungeon. So you have like new monsters, new, new bad guy on the level. You're learning more about this world, learning more about the character's past, and how things work in the dungeon with every book. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I feel like you really got to be locked in as things progress. And I've been such a mood reader over the last few months that I just haven't really got into it. But we will continue the series, and maybe next year when we do our book review, our tier ranking, I will have finished up to the 8th book. So we'll see. First Blinker since Sunday, I just transcended. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so since I'm streaming on YouTube, I can't participate in that at the moment, but I think once we're done with the tier ranking stream, depending on how long it takes, we might end the YouTube stream early and then participate in degenerate activities on Twitch. So, yeah. But cheers. Cheers to you. I hope you enjoy your transcendence. Big time type shit. That's what I'm talking about. Type shit. You know? Okay. Reincarnation Blues by Michael Poore was probably my favorite book I read all year. It might be one of my favorite books of all time. It is so interesting, so unique. I have never watched a TV show or a movie or read any other book that transported me the way that this one did. And also was able to communicate so many different things in one book. Reincarnation Blues by Michael Poore is essentially a fantasy science fiction book, I guess, about this person. I think, what was his name? Milo. And Milo is essentially reincarnated over or up to 10,000 times trying to reach perfection. And we get glimpses into all of the different lives he lived, different stages of the world, some fiction, some true. Some we get like a few snippets, like sentences, and then others we get full chapters devoted to that life. And we also get this insight into, like, not necessarily the afterlife, but maybe the in-between. The place people go before it's decided where they're going to spend eternity. And there is death personified, which is really interesting, and the dynamic relationship that Death and Milo have throughout all these lives that he lives, before, during, after. And I think about it now, I get little goosebumps. If I could recommend anybody to read a book at any point, it would be Reincarnation Blues. Definitely cried, definitely screamed, could have thrown up. It's going at the top of the list, for sure. I did talk about it a lot while I was reading it, so true, and afterwards, and since. It's anytime I see like a TikTok that's like, if you could recommend one book to somebody right now, it's that. Oh yeah, let me do that. I was using the Stream.io or whatever, or Restream to multi-stream, and it sets stuff for you, like your title and everything. At least I hope it does. I think I might have just changed it by doing that, but here, let me do this. Ranking the 41 books I read 2025. There we go. Yeah, 100% Reincarnation Blues. Banger. Absolute banger. Can't recommend that one enough. Yeah, after this, after Reincarnation Blues and Dungeon Crawler Carl, I was feeling a little bit heavy, and I wanted to read some light and fluffy stuff, so we went on a Abby Jimenez binge. She's one of the most popular romance authors currently, and her books are entertaining. They're fun. The characters are interesting. I will say her stories are pretty much copy paste. There is a trope of miscommunication. One character is going through something they feel like they don't deserve, you know, a happy life, so to speak, and then another character comes in and is like, actually, you do. And how their relationship blossoms around other things that they're going on, other things that are going on in their life. There is a lot of different subjects that come through in these books. Being with a narcissist or having a narcissist family member and how that affects your life. Dealing with a health condition, a terminal illness. There is a lot of heavy stuff that she weaves in to give you that perspective that I was talking about before. And for that reason, I will probably read most of what she publishes for the rest of time. I also love her story. Abby Jimenez, she didn't start writing books until I think her mid-30s to late 30s. And she kind of put everything in, like, kind of just sent it. They took out loans. They did whatever they could. Her husband helped out to fund certain things to get her published, and their life is forever changed now because she took a chance. And now that's her life, is writing books, traveling the world, and doing author talks, and bringing her teenage daughter along with her, and it's really special. So I will definitely support that. The Friend Zone was just okay. I'm gonna say worth the time. Say You'll Remember Me. I think this is also pretty good. I'm gonna put this one before the Ruined Realms series. Happily Ever After Playlist is okay. I don't think that one is really worth writing home about. And Life's Too Short, I'm also gonna put in worth the time. As much as I like her books, like I said, they're very copy-paste for each other, and it's almost like you know what you're gonna get once you get to the 70% mark, and then afterwards it's just a matter of how she's gonna do it. And for that reason, I would say that they're not 5 stars, they're pretty close. They're just good books. Yeah, just good books. Let's see. We're about halfway now, and I think this looks pretty accurate. I think this is feeling pretty accurate to how my reading year went. I honestly thought that I didn't have as many good books that I read this year that I did, but looking at this, I did read some good ones. Let's see. Blockade Billy by Stephen King. This is one that I have tried to get some of my friends to read that are into baseball. This is a very short story. I think it's less than 100 pages, and it is very intense. When you think about Stephen King, I feel like a lot of times people just think of the horror, crime, thriller, it, gory, some monster lurking somewhere. And I wouldn't say that Blockade Billy is necessarily far removed from that, but it comes in a way different form, and it's very surprising. If you enjoy baseball, if you like Stephen King, it's a very short book. I definitely recommend checking it out. Is it 5 stars? Let's see. Did I give it 5 stars? Let me check. Yes, Aragon coming up soon. We're going to talk about that. Hi, goats. I hope you're doing well. I didn't give it a review. Interesting. 112 pages. For the love of baseball, I'm going to put it in 5 stars. You're pretty dang close. I am. I think it was a fun read, and I want to read more books about baseball, so it was a good segue for me to get into that. Okay, so now I'm really getting into my fantasy romantasy bag here. Two of the upcoming books here I got as advanced reader copies, so it wasn't exactly a book I was planning on reading this year. It was more of an opportunity to read a free book and be a part of something. So we'll get there. Heir of Fire, Sarah J. Maas. This is the Throne of Glass series, one of the most popular fantasy series contemporarily. This is the same author who wrote Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR, which I'm sure if you exist on the internet or have a female in your life, you probably have heard of that series or that author. This goes back to the same thing that I've been saying. This goes for Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows. They're just okay. And honestly, if I wasn't already so deep into this series, I don't know if I'd keep reading, but now I'm invested and I just want to know what happens, how things end, like what the point is. So I probably will continue reading the series, but I think I still have like 3 books, maybe 4 books left. And I'm gonna have to be in the mood for them. I'm gonna put both of these in maybe not. And I'm just saying, this is really a big, personal preference thing. But I just don't know if romantasy is possible in the way that we want it to be. I really don't know that it is. I think these could have been really awesome books if they weren't bogged down by the romance. Is that terrible to say? Yeah, it's almost as if, like, you're reading 2 books, a romance book and a fantasy book at the same time. And it's like the whiplash. That's what I experienced in Throne of Glass. And there's not really any spice in these books, which I hear, I don't know, I haven't read ACOTAR, but I hear there's more spice in that series. There's no spice in this. I prefer, honestly, I'm not really big on the spicy reading. I prefer to escape reality into the fantasy world. So, being reminded of those things is sometimes not what I'm in the mood for, Yeah, maybe not worth the time. Honestly, Throne of Glass is just okay. It's just okay. We'll see if I change my tune on that in the future. The 2 arcs that I read, A Bargain So Bloody and The Silversmith, I'm gonna put The Silversmith and please never write another book. And I'm gonna put Bargain So Bloody and maybe not. They're both okay. You can tell that both of these books are by new authors, likely all self-publishing. Maybe didn't get the best editor, didn't get the best feedback from their friends and family. They feel incomplete, they feel nonsensical, they feel like books just written for the sake of writing a book. There's not much substance. A lot of the twists and turns don't really make sense. The Silversmith specifically, you can pick up on like the main plot hook in the first like chapter, but the whole book is spent pretending that we don't already know that, and we just have to watch these 2 characters like be annoyed with each other for an entire book. It doesn't make sense. And I have a very large pet peeve about like over describing things that don't need to be described. I don't need to know what every character's breath smelled like or how their hair is falling in that moment. If it's relevant, if it's portraying some kind of emotion, or if we're getting a look into something that we can't learn otherwise unless we get that description, sure. But just to fill in and fluff the text, I don't need that. I don't care about that. And I think that should have been scratched and edited out, right? But lack of editing, here we are. It is what it is. Rebel Witch. The series is a lot of fun. I'm gonna put it in worth the time. I might even no, it goes back here. It goes there towards the end. Fun, escape, witchy vibes. A good little break from reality. Nothing special to write home about. I'm pretty sure I gave this 3.5 stars. And, the first book I liked a lot more. The sequel was, okay. And I think she even left it open room for a third book. I don't know if that's in process or not, but another one that's a victim of the romantasy vibe. Although I will say Rebel Witch and Crimson Moth, they are more about the romance, and the fantasy is like an obvious subplot, I feel like. Even though I think she intended to write it the opposite way, it's definitely more of a romance book than it is a fantasy novel. So, and maybe that might be the method. Maybe that's the formula. Maybe you need to lean way hard in the other way, or one way or the other, and then sprinkle in the other stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's a lesson I need to write down for later, but... okay, coming up to some of my favorite reads. Again, we went through this, like, up and down with the romances and the romantasy through the middle of the year, and then I feel like towards the second half of the year we definitely got into some really good books. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore is one of my favorite books of the year. I'm gonna put it in 5 stars, maybe right here. Yeah, definitely better than Blockade Billy, but I don't know if it's better than... Actually, yeah, it is better than Doomsday Scenario, but not better than Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is a very popular book. It's one of the few books that I actually had on like a physical written TBR list that I wanted to read this year. And I think I picked like 25 books that I wanted to read, and I only read like 4 of them off that list. And this was one of them, and it definitely was worth it. Very interesting mystery. We have a couple different timelines. It's almost like 2 crimes in 2 different timelines are being solved at the same time in present-day history. It's very interesting. Very emotional. There is just immaculate storytelling. That's the best way to put it. It doesn't rely on any tropes or any popular themes of a lot of other books. It's just pure contemporary fiction in a really, really great way. So, The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, I definitely recommend. And honestly, for anybody, I feel like most age groups can appreciate it. It doesn't scream like, you know, a particular gender that would appreciate it. So, I think that's a good one for anyone. Atmosphere is exactly the same, I would say, in that sense of that it's just good contemporary fiction. This one follows the life of one of the first first couple of females, actually, in the space program. So we are still newly, freshly exploring space. There is a lesbian romance that kind of blooms in this at a time period where that was obviously very frowned upon. So you're kind of having this character fighting 2 battles at once, where she's like struggling to find her, you know, sexual identity, and then also her workplace identity in a male-dominated field, almost what was used to be a male-exclusive field, and how she's navigating both of those at the same time. I will say, you know, to have such an intense story underlying certain things, you have like a shift in the emotions. You're very excited for the main character, you're heartbroken for the main character, you're kind of on the edge of your seat wondering, like, are they gonna get caught, or are they gonna go up in space and perish? Like, there is a lot of suspense, a lot of emotion, and this was my first Taylor Jenkins read. And I look forward to reading more of her stuff. I'm gonna put this in Screaming, Crying, Throwing Up. This is definitely over 5 stars for me. One of my favorite reads of the year. And this is another one that, when I talk about my favorite reads of this year, I will be sure to mention for sure and going forward. Eragon. So I read Eragon because of my husband. He purchased the book for me for Christmas of 2024, and it's one of his favorite series ever, and since I started reading more, he has been trying to get me to read Eragon. Basically for, 3.5, almost 4 years, he was trying to get me to read Eragon. So I finally did this year, and I really, really enjoyed it. Eragon was written by a young kid at the time. Christopher Paolini was young when he wrote Eragon. He came from a family of authors, so I feel like there was a little bit maybe nepotism going on there, where you kind of got to sneak in and, you know, learn from some great talent. I gave this 5 stars, and I feel like that sticks. The voices of the characters in Eragon come through so well. It's something that I feel like can be really hard to do when you're especially writing a fantasy book where you're meeting all these different characters. You have dragons that can speak, and you know, factions all over this continent that you're exploring, and Christopher Paolini's ability to give characters a very pure voice that jumps off the page, I think, is a testament to his talent and why these books are so popular. I look forward to reading more of the series. I actually have cracked open Eldest, but I haven't really pursued it much. It's a thick book, it's super heavy, and it's one of those that I really want to just devote my time to when I'm in the mood. So I'm gonna put Eragon probably at the front of 5 stars here, and hopefully we'll be reviewing some more of those books next year. They're a lot of fun, and it's a good chill. I don't even want to say chill because a lot of crazy stuff happens, but it feels more low risk than a lot of fantasy books today feel, because it really is just about a kid and a dragon, you know, figuring themselves out, and the purity behind that, and the innocence behind that, but also like the exposition to how crazy and messed up the world is, and even more so when you have a super weapon like a dragon. So yeah, Eragon, fantastic. It holds up super well today, and I think if you haven't read it and you want something fun and kind of exciting to break into fantasy fiction, Eragon is still great. It still holds up really well. After that, I read Dalagert's Dream Department Store. This is another one that I really enjoyed. It was a great reprieve from some of the heavier things I read this year. It is essentially following one character and then a few others. The one character works in a dream department store where she sells people dreams. And we also get the perspective of a couple of dreamers who are basically using their dreams to process different parts of their lives, which is something that we do. We see a couple different stories, and you know, the dreams and how they are able to use them to work through the stuff going on in their lives. I think it was a very interesting concept. It was a lot of fun to think about a dream department store, like going and shopping for the perfect dream, and how the employees of the shop kind of get to know the shoppers and are able to suggest certain dreams to them. I thought it was very good. It's definitely worth the time. I don't know if it's 5 stars or pretty close. I feel like it's pretty close, but is it pretty dang close? I don't know. Let's see, what did I rate it? What did I rate it after reading? I didn't. See, this is when I know that I struggle to give a book a rating, is if I just didn't at all. I didn't put anything in there. Maybe some books aren't meant to be judged in such a way, and it's just about whether it was for you or not, you know? It doesn't really measure up in a lot of ways that you would a traditional fiction book. I'm gonna put it in... Is it better than Blockhead Billy? I think it was. That feels right. It's pretty dang close. I would say it was like maybe a 4.75 for me. And I'm pretty sure it was translated. I could be wrong about that. I could be making that up. Let me check. Yes, it was. It was translated from Korean, I think. So I will give some room for that. I'll give some room from that because I think things can get lost in translation, and it was a brilliant story. So, yeah. We'll put the Dollar Gut Dream Department Store there. And then, let's see, we're getting near the end here. Last few books. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. Sangu is one of my favorite authors. I will read anything she ever writes, and this was no exception. Very fun, fantastical, magical, cozy story about an inn, a magical inn that appears before people exactly when they need it most. It invites a bunch of random people and creatures, and there is some really fun found family dynamics. A young witch who was corrupted by someone she thought was a friend and ends up losing her magical powers, and the book is about her trying to get them back by any means necessary. And it's very, very funny, very interesting. I'm fairly sure I gave this 5 stars because I probably would give any Sangu Mandana book 5 stars, and I'm gonna say this is no exception. But is it screaming, crying, throwing up worthy? I don't know. Is it better than Aragon? I don't think so. Is it better than Hunger Games? No. Catching Fire? No. God of the Woods? No. It belongs somewhere here. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. I did read some pretty good books this year, actually. You know, I was starting to feel like I didn't, but this is telling me otherwise. Heavy Hitter by K.D. Kotuk. No. I'm gonna put this in maybe not, although I want to put it in Please Never Write Another Book. It wasn't terrible. It was just okay. And going back and reading some of the comments, a lot of people were like, it's a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce story. And like, I kind of hate that criticism because, like, what? Any sports person and, you know, entertainer that gets together is gonna have that attached to them for the rest of forever. Also, it's a baseball story, not a football story. But it's just like people's brains can only operate on one frequency sometimes, and I think this is not an exception for that. It was okay. I might even put it better than A Bargain So Bloody. It was okay. It was good. It was a baseball story, and like I said, we're trying to read more baseball this year, so we're wiggling our way in, slowly but surely. Another romance that I read was Single Player. This is another lesbian romance book, and this was actually pretty entertaining. I like this a lot. You're following 2 characters that work for a game development company, and you get to watch as they kind of get to know each other and also the game that they're making. And as a gamer, I loved it. The romance is like pretty mild for most of the book. There's like some Dungeons and Dragons activity going on, can't pass that up. I would say it's worth the time. I think it was entertaining. I think it was fun. I think it gave a cool little insight into game development. And the romance was, I think, appropriate for the story. So I'm gonna put this, yeah, right there. Right after the Ruined Realms series. I think that's fair. That's fair judgment. Next we read Prey by Michael Crichton or Crichton. Michael Crichton, I think that's how you say it. Crichton. I said Crichton in another one of my videos and then had to edit it out because I think I was wrong. I think it's Crichton. A very famous author, very popular guy. He's wrote a lot of crazy books and has written a few collaborative books with other popular authors. It was twisty and mind-bendy, science fiction heavy, but there was just so much of it that, like, there was plot holes everywhere. And there were so many things that, like, I think in books like this, the author can just write off as being like, well, nobody knew in the story. Nobody knew this thing. None of the characters knew it. So the reader doesn't need to know it, and that seems lazy to me. Maybe that's me being selfish. Maybe I need to know and have all the answers, and that's why I feel that way. But it's just, I don't know. I was disappointed, I guess. I'm gonna put this in maybe not, and I might put it like towards the beginning of maybe not. Maybe here. Yeah, I feel like that makes the most sense. I feel like that's fair. Um, if you're really into fantasy, sci-fi, and you want a gritty, easy read that's not convoluted by romance and other things, then you probably would enjoy Prey. But if you want something more intense, with more substance, and really immersive into a very thought-out world, then maybe not. Yeah. Next, we have The Wind Through the Keyhole, which is part of the Dark Tower series, another Stephen King book. And this one is like, it's an interesting one because it fits in between two books in the original series of the Dark Tower, but was written like 2 decades after the books that are in between, like that fall on either side of it. So, it's a good little escape from the main story where you still get to learn a little bit about the characters and what's going on. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't really remember much about it, and it might be because I like speed ran it. Like I picked it up, read a few chapters, put it down for like a year, and then I picked it back up and like speed ran it because I was hoping to move on to the other books in the series. So, where do we put you? I just feel like maybe this will change, but I don't think that it impacted my feelings on the other books. So I'm just gonna put it in maybe not, because it was okay, and I think it could be skipped. If you're gonna read the Dark Tower series, you could skip it, and not really waste your time or energy reading it and jump into the next book, and maybe it might even help you get through the series by not taking that break from the story and to keep going. Maybe that's where I made the mistake. So I'm gonna put that in maybe not. Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. This one was good. This one was really good. This one follows a man who is basically abducted by 2 other gentlemen and taken on a spaceship through space, where he is told he will be, or basically finds out that he is going to be like a sacrifice or an offering to this alien species. And he ends up like actually meeting different species on this alien planet and getting to know the real them, and not through the lens of a terrified human from Earth. And I think there's a lot of really, really interesting takes and quotes about humanity, and you know, like how we let fear kind of rule a lot of our actions when we don't understand something, and a little bit about religion and our perspective of that, and how sometimes that controls how we operate on a day-to-day basis. Again, I did not rate this one on Goodreads, which checks out based on what I said before. So, yeah, this one's still sitting well with me. I might give this 5 stars, or pretty dang close. And I might even put it up a little bit here. I think it's even better than Carl's Doomsday. It's better than God of the Woods. I don't think it's better than The Hunger Games, though. So that feels appropriate right there. Yeah. That feels appropriate. Station 11, one of my favorite reads. I'm going to go ahead and put this right up here at the top. Screaming, Crying, Throwing Up. This is my kind of book. This is apocalyptic science fiction, real human experiences coming through, the dynamic of, you know, facing challenges as humans and then having to do so with strangers that you've never met before, or welcoming in people into a very intense situation. There's a lot of really cool storytelling in here. There is some like mystery in some of the timeline and jumping back between the POVs. It's a really great read. I might put this before Atmosphere, actually. I think I enjoyed it more. This is another one that I've been talking about when people ask me about my reads from last year. Up there with Reincarnation Blues, Station 11. Definitely. Down to the last 5. The final 5 books of 2025. Let's see. Yeah, all of these I basically read over the last month. I finished Hero of Ages, I think at the beginning of December. And the rest of these I read this month, or last month in December. The Hero of Ages is part of the Mistborn series. It's fantastic. It is worthy of all the hype and excitement that is built around it, I think. These are any Brandon Sanderson book is going to be world building heavy. There's a lot to learn. You have a magic system that is very unique, and even the characters themselves throughout the book are still learning about the magic system as we go along and follow them. So I think it's worth reading. The Mistborn series is great. It's popular for a reason, and I think The Hero of Ages is a great ending to that first trilogy. Is it 5 stars for me? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I gave it 4. I feel like that's like as much as it is good. I don't know if I wasn't screaming, crying, throwing up, and I don't know that I gave it 5 stars. It's one of those things that's like, it was a good book, but was it a great book? I did give it 5 stars, but there's no review. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna put this in worth the time. It just doesn't stick with me in the way that some of these other 5 stars have this year, so I think that's where it belongs. Dating After the End of the World, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as these 3, but it doesn't fit here either. It just doesn't. It was just mediocre, and I would be fine if Jennifer Rose never wrote another book again. You know, that can be down there. This was another one that I just kind of saw on Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, that looks interesting. I need something to read. And the pacing and everything, how the story's written, is very easy to kind of get through. It was a good break from my doom scrolling, but I think that's about it. You're basically following a character who, you know, we meet her before the zombie apocalypse, and she's engaged to this doctor. She's a doctor. Her dad was a doomsday prepper, but she has an estranged relationship with him now. And then, surprise, doomsday comes, and she ends up getting separated from this fiance of hers, goes off to meet her dad and the doomsday prep, and there's kind of like a second chance romance thing that happens. But this is one that I feel like it could have been fun to have the second chance romance without the zombies. You know, like it could have just been a fun, cute second chance romance book instead of a zombie book that wanted to be a romance book. I don't know. It could be fine with her never writing another book again. what you are looking for is in the library. Definitely screaming, crying, throwing up. Or 5 stars. It's one of these. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in screaming, crying, throwing up because I feel like the impact that it had on me will probably last for a long time. It's definitely lasted all month. It's been on the back of my mind, and it has inspired me to read more like Japanese penned literature. So I think it could have been a monumental story for me if the translation was a little bit better. So again, I'm gonna hang that up on the translation. The story itself, the characters, the overall magic and mystery of the story. You're basically, you have all these different POVs of different people at different stages of their life, different ages, and they're all brought to this in one way or another to the same library, where they meet this librarian that just chats with them for a little bit and ends up recommending them a book that drastically changes the trajectory of their life, and what they have been looking for they find in the library. And I think that's really special. I think that's a good message of what we can learn and take away from different stories and books, fiction or non. And another book about books, can't go wrong with that. So I think that's the perfect spot for it there too, right after Atmosphere, so I'm gonna leave that there. If I Never Met You, Vari McFarlane, another one of my favorite authors. She's incredibly talented. She's another one that I will read anything she ever writes. We're running out of room, but I'm going to slide this in right here, I think, to If I Never Met You. I know our screen is a little off. Maybe I can get this over here a little bit. Yeah, so you can kind of see it. But yeah, I think that's the appropriate spot for that, worth the time, but not my favorite read of hers either, so. And then the last book that we read was Days at the Murasaki Bookshop, another Japanese penned author. We actually read this mostly while we were in Japan, which was very cool. It was fun to read about a place in a book and then go to that place in real life. The book town, Jimbocho, which this character goes to live after a breakup and work with her uncle who owns this bookshop. And her life as it is, falling in love with books and kind of growing up and into herself outside of who she is in a relationship. It was really good. I'm gonna put this in 5 stars or pretty dang close. I think that's an appropriate spot for that, and it kind of everything makes sense here as far as this tier ranking system goes. So there it is. There she is. The 41 books I read this year, tier ranked, and my perspective on what I think might be good, what I would recommend. I definitely, looking at this, feel lucky once again to have the time and the space, the room, to be able to read some great stories. And I look forward to reading more books this year. Escaping into multiple different realities, getting some cool perspective and some insight into the human condition, escaping to some magical worlds and exploring worlds that I have already started exploring further. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me for this. I appreciate it a ton. This was a lot of fun to do, and I look forward to doing this at the end of every year, hoping to continue to make this a tradition going forward and maybe inspiring some of you to pick up some of these books. I know life is short, and sometimes reaching for a book doesn't feel like the most opportune or fun thing to do in the moment, but maybe there's a book out there that will change your mind on that. Maybe a book that will help you put your phone down more and detach from doom scrolling or, you know, the toxic nature of people on the internet, and maybe learn something new, extend your vocabulary a little bit, find a new interest that excites you. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm going to end the YouTube stream here and take a quick break and then maybe come back and play some games. I don't know. So if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you will continue to support this channel here as we do some exciting things in 2025 and maybe some more live streams. And if you're hanging out on Twitch, thank you guys for hanging out. I'm not sure what we're gonna do, but I will be back and we're gonna do something. That's for sure. I need to figure out how to do things here, how to end things. Again, first YouTube stream, so I think it worked out pretty well doing the multi-streaming, so we will try this more in the future. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you next time. A peace.